Okay.
You know what? I started the year being on time.
I have one more for you to sign. Steve just signed it and gave it to me. But it's G1, item G1 for today's meeting.
Espérate. Yeah.
Go ahead, my doctor says I can't do jumping jacks.
How are you? Good. How are you? I did.
Okay,
You?
we're gonna start,
Thank you so
we're gonna
much.
start the meeting.
You got it. Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna start the meeting for, January the 2nd, 2024, for the city council. And, Madam Clerk, roll call and post it to the agenda.
Councilmember Basua,
Here?
Councilmember Madrigal,
Here.
Councilmember Perillo,
Here.
Councilmember Tehran,
Here.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Welcome back. Welcome. We hadn't seen you for quite a while, and you look great. Welcome back and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Posting of the agenda. The agenda for this meeting was posted in the City Hall Bulletin Board on December 21st, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And any public comments on this closed session items?
We do not have any public comment for the closed session items. Thank you.
Thank you. So then we go into item C. Then we have our city attorney give us some information on the closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. The council will recess now to close session to confer with its legal counsel regarding existing litigation, and the name of the case is Ignacio Ixta Jr. et al. Versus County of Ventura et al.
Thank you. So we're going to the closed session, and we'll be back for our opening ceremonies at 6 p.m. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. We're back from closed session. And Mr. City Attorney, do you have any items to report out of closed session?
No, Mayor, there are no reports out of closed session this evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our next item is our opening ceremonies at 6 p.m. And before I have, help me with the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd just like to share that we have a moment of silence for an individual that a lot of people knew here in Oxnard. His name is Joe Avalar. Joe Avalar passed away in October of 2022, and he was under hospice for a few days. Last month, excuse me. And he was in hospice for a few days after he had a major stroke, and so he now joins his parents and sisters up in heaven. So I'd just like to share that actually Joe moved to the United States when he was 12 years old with his father and sister, immigrated from the U.S. from the Azores. He learned how to speak English and obtained a college degree and was the president of the local union and also the Lemonwood Neighborhood Watch Council. He worked for the city of Oxnard for 42 years in several roles, including a senior code enforcement officer, and he was a cool enforcement officer, according to what I'm reading here. He was. He was a father to his kids, and he was going to be missed by the family. Joe was survived by his daughter Julie Avalar, son David Avalar, former wife Beverly Morgan, grandson Joshua Hudkins, and his granddaughter-in-law Cody Mahoney, granddaughter Daisy Avalar, and numerous other friends and workers. So if you want to send any flowers, you can send flowers to through Jose Lima, Joe Avalar, and you can visit to the tribute store. But anyway, so it's a moment of silence for Joe. And by the way, I was trying to remember, we had a Public Works radio at the time, and I cannot remember if his number was 241 or 211. But every time that he was a code compliance officer, anytime he got in trouble out in the field, he would call for the police officers. Please send, I'm just going to use this number, 2411, this is Joe Avalar, this guy is following me. Can you please send a police officer? For all the people that remember that, he really wanted to be a police officer and always wanted to carry a gun, and the police department at the time would not allow him to carry a gun because he was under code compliance. But he was a really, really, really good guy. He really helped a lot with the neighborhood councils over in Lemonwood. So we're going to miss Joe. Council member?
Yes, Mayor, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to say something about Mr. Avalar. I met Mr. Avalar when I got involved in the neighborhood councils. I did not know Joe as a code enforcement. I knew him as an individual, very involved in his neighborhood, specifically the Lemonwood neighborhood, but his concerns were citywide. And, he worked on a lot of things. Mr. Avalar, Joe, was involved in different things, and there were times that we would have discussions in the group, and this is going back, 10, 12 years, 15 years. And there would be some heated discussions, and he used to always give me some slack because Joe was very proud of his Portuguese ancestry, came from the Azores Islands off Portugal. And he found out that my wife's grandparents came from the Azores, so he gave me extra slack when we had disagreements. I'll never forget that. But I worked with him on multiple things, specifically the Lemonwood area, when there was a time when there was tremendous amounts of homicides, and I didn't solve them, but he was a guy that was concerned about all of Oxnard. If you take an opportunity and you look on the LA Times, Google Mr. Joe Avalar, you'll find stories in the LA Times about him and the things that he did that tremendously, in my opinion, helped the city of Oxnard. And for a guy to work 42 years in any endeavor, it's a credit. And he was very proud of the city, very proud of his heritage, and very proud of the works and the good deeds that he got involved in. He will be missed. There's a service, I understand, 11:30 at Reardon's Mortuary on A Street, Saturday.
Thank you. Anybody else like to share anything about Joe at this time? I know I had the opportunity of working with Joe for many, many years, and I was a division head, department head for the city. Many times, when we had an employee that got in trouble because of the union, I would call him, and Joe says, "What are you going to do with Mayor Pro Tem? He's been late all this time and the whole thing." He says, "What would you do?" He says, "I'd fire him." And he was a union worker at the time. But anyway, he was that kind of a guy, you know. If he's violating the law or the rules, the MOU, let him go. But anyway, but he was, not because he's gone, but he really was a good guy. And thank you for that. So please join me for salute our flag and then a moment of silence for Joe. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it
stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Our next item is this is a ceremonial item, a presentation of proclamation designating January 15, 2024 as Dr. Martin Luther King Day. And we have La Rita and also the MLK Committee. Can you come up to, let me present this resolution, proclamation to you. Okay. So La Rita is the boss, right? Come right up. The boss lady. You stand right here.
All right, thank you. We all flank around.
Come around this way. How are you? Thank you, thank you. Okay, this is a proclamation, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 15th, 2024. Whereas Martin Luther King Jr. worked to reaffirm the ideals of freedom, dignity, and opportunity for all races and people in helping our nation recognize the importance of upholding the American founding principles of equality and justice for all. And whereas Dr. King served as a voice of conscience for a nation, and his words and actions continue to inspire courage, humility, and compassion. His enduring contribution to America reminds us of countless others around the world that people should not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Whereas in June 15, 2024 has been set aside as a national holiday to pay tribute to Dr. King, and the theme of this year is commemoration of empowerment through education. Paving the path to equality and understanding, because Dr. King taught us that citizenship includes recognizing the value of each other's individual and individual culture. Whereas on the 38th annual Ventura County Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. birth celebration will be held on Monday, Jan 15, 2024 at 9 a.m. at the Oxnard Performing Arts Center, and will feature a youth, speakers, sculpture readings, gospel musical, and selection from LMK Celebration Choir. Now therefore, I, John C. Zeragos, the mayor of the city of Oxnard, do hereby proclaim Jan 15, 2024 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And the city of Oxnard encourages all our residents to recognize the lasting truth of his words and legacy, and to renew a commitment to the principle of justice, equality, opportunity, and optimism that Dr. King espoused and amplified as participants in the Freedom March and prayer starting at Plaza Park on January 15, 2024 at 8 a.m., followed by this program at the Oxnard Performing Arts Center. And this is signed by the mayor of the city of Oxnard on this day. Thank you so much, Loretta. And I'll give you this. Thank you so much. You'd like to share a couple of words?
Yes, please,
We'll have the young man hold the proclamation.
There we are. Good evening, Oxnard. It is truly a blessing for us to be here to accept this wonderful proclamation. I'm Loretta Montgomery, chairperson, and I'd like for all who are with me to give their names and say anything they want to say, then I'll come back and wrap it up. How about that? Okay, we'll start with to my right here, Mr. Lupka. Here we go.
Willie Lupka, co-chair of the committee. Come and join us on the 15th of January. Oh, Vince Stewart. Want everybody to come down to the park to start off the day. Just a reminder, come and park at the Performing Arts Center, 7:30ish, and head on over on the vans to the park. It's going to be a wonderful march. Praying the weather will hold up.
Is that rain or shine? Okay, okay.
Tracy Harris, volunteer coordinator. We'd love to see everyone out there.
Angela Landers. And yes, please do come out on Monday. It's very symbolic and very important that we recognize Martin Luther King. So please join us on Monday, January 15th, bright and early. Thank you. Oh,
Thank you. And I just want to share with Larita that I've been joining you guys for years and years and years,
I'd say 37,
at least,
coming up to 38.
and I'm only 38.
You're only 38.
But I just want to share something. I think we've canceled, I think, a couple of meetings. One time it was raining.
86,
Or was it the earthquake or the rain? I can't remember.
earthquake.
The earthquake. I remember it was the earthquake. We were standing out there and started to shake, and we all ran home. Don't believe it. But it was Bedford Pinker was running at the time. He was our council member at the time. So, okay, the boss.
I'm just going to reiterate our flyer of information to you. Monday, January 15th, 2024, we'll be expressing empowerment through education, paving the path to equality and understanding. We want you to come out and join us, as they've already stated. The Freedom March begins at 8 a.m. at the Oxnard Plaza Park. Join us at the Oxnard Performing Arts Center so you can catch one of the vans down, because, parking will be something for you to walk to, and then you're going to walk back. Then at the program, as is stated in our proclamation, we will start off with youth speakers, and you can't beat the speaking of these young people. Then we'll have our keynote speaker, which will be Dr. Irene Pinkert. And we're happy to have her come home and join us. And following that, we also have exhibits where we have vendors and information tables for people, organizations who are coming out to support. We'd like for you to come out and support them as well. And at this time, I'd also like to acknowledge our resident photographer. She's there standing, taking photos of us, and that is Renee Camphor Stewart. So she'll be seeing you at the park first, and then she'll be coming on down to the Oxnard Plaza, to Oxnard Community Center, and the event will be in the Oxnard Room. Events will be taking place there. Tickets for the event is $10. You can get them online or for many of the members. We even have a few tickets here tonight. So if you want to see me before you leave, I really would like to see you too. But anyway, we're going to have a wonderful time. I'm seeing all my wonderful friends up here, and also my city council person, Miss Basua. She's been hanging there for a few years, and I'm happy to have her. And we should be happy to have her. All right. And then my other friends, of course. I have all these people here are my friends. So, so once again, thank you for the proclamation from the city and the mayor. We are happy to be here, and we promise to do a good job for you.
Thank you. And I'd also like to share that our keynote speaker, Irene Pinkert, she was a council member here for many, many years, and I want to thank her and all the committee for the good work that you do year after year after year.
Thank you.
Right? Thank you so much. Put your hands together for the committee. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, we got to take a picture first.
Okay. Should I have the flyer up?
I'll be quick. Ready? 1, 2. One more for good measure.
Thank you.
Breathe now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Tell your wife hello.
Thank you. Will do. Will do. Thank you. Commissioner. Thank you. Good man. Good. Mhm. Thank you so much. You changed it all. It's beautiful. Thank you, thank you. I know that we're waiting for the committee to thank him for being here today. But we have another proclamation, and this is for the Seroptimists. Is Debbie here? Debbie, and the committee coming up. This is the Seroptimist Stop Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Oops. That's okay. We'll talk. Debbie? Okay, the proclamation is Seroptimist Stop Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Whereas Jan 13, 2024 is the 17th Annual Human Trafficking and Sexual Slavery Community Awareness Event in Ventura County, hosted by the Camino Real Region Seroptimists of Oxnard, Camarillo, Ventura, Channel Islands Clubs, to take place at the Columbus Hall. Whereas it is Seroptimist's mission to raise community awareness that human trafficking is not a global problem. It's not just a global problem, but a local problem, to provide resources, education, empower victims of human trafficking, and to honor and uplift women and girls who have struggled through hardship, disparity, and in some cases, human trafficking. And whereas January is known as a month of Human Trafficking Awareness Month, it is now the time for individuals at home, workplaces, churches, and schools should educate themselves to learn and identify the signs of trafficking. Whereas every 30 seconds, and I cannot believe that, every 30 seconds, another person becomes a victim of human trafficking through force, fraud, and coercion. Trafficking primarily involves exploitation for the purposes of prostitution, slavery, pillage, debt, bondage, involuntary servitude, compelling victims to commit commercial sex acts. Approximately 75% of the human trafficking victims are trafficked for sexual exploitation, while 18% for labor exploitation. Whereas the Global Slavery Index estimates 40 million women and children are living as modern-day slaves. The forced labor and sex trafficking is a $100 billion worldwide industry and the fastest growing criminal enterprise. And where Seroptimists are reinvesting programs, Seroptimists Live Your Dream, which helps recipients with financial support to continue the education and gain independence. 50% of the women are survivors of trafficking, domestic violence, and sexual assault. Whereas Seroptimists International of Oxnard, Camarillo, Ventura, and Channel Islands supports the Federation of Seroptimists International of America program to promote awareness and advocacy and action that all Seroptimist clubs in a global position to educate everyone, especially women, that have the right to live free from violence and exploitation. Now, therefore, I, John C. Zaragoza, Mayor of the City of Oxnard, Dubai, proclaim Jan 13, 2024 as the 17th Annual Seroptimist Human Trafficking Awareness Day, with special recognition to law enforcement agencies, local services programs, Seroptimists International of Oxnard, Camarillo, Ventura, Channel Islands Clubs of Camino de Real, for their continued commitment in strengthening anti-trafficking efforts and building collaboration, prevention, human trafficking, and improving the lives of more women and children in the United States. Debbie, thank you so much for your work and to your committee. This is given to you on the 13th day of January. You'd like to share a couple of words?
Yes, I would. I'll let Tori. This is our president, Tori Rocco, and our immediate past president, her mother, Gail Rocco, and they're here to support our project. We've been doing this for, I can't believe, 17 years now. The first one was at the Transportation Center, and our chief was there 17 years ago. So why do we keep doing this every year? We are doing this because if it ever stops, when trafficking ever stops, there won't be a need to do this anymore. But until then, we need to continue educating people and bringing awareness that it doesn't just happen in a foreign global place, that it happens right here in California is the #1 state out of the 50 states for human trafficking, and it happens in our own backyards. It happens here. We have a Ventura County Human Task Force that's working to go out there, investigate, and bring in the traffickers, and they're doing a fine job, but it still continues to take place. And it could be right in your own backyard, and you may not even know it, your next door neighbor. So we wanted to bring awareness, and the information that I brought to the city council tonight was I gave you each a flyer, a save the date. We'll have this event on January 13th from 1 to 4. It's free. If you have any young children in your households or grandchildren, this is an opportunity for you to bring them so that they can hear and the stories. We have 2 survivors that will be telling their stories. We have a police detective that will be sharing about what they're doing in Ventura County, and we have a doctor, Dr. Walls for Justice for All, and he will be telling about the medical part of it. So please bring yourself, bring your children. We will have some community partners, Interface and Journey Out, and different organizations that will be sharing materials that you can pick up. And, just, you got to keep those kids and ourselves. It can happen to anybody at any age. So please come out and support us. It's free, and we'd love to have you come out. We're going to start with a walk. So we're going to walk down Main Street in Ventura and then come back, and we'll hear the 4 speakers. So I really appreciate you being there, Mayor, and year after year. You're a busy guy, aren't you? So anyways, if you have any questions, there's contact information on the flyer. Thank you. Did you want to say anything?
Can I just real quick? I just wanted to thank Debbie for her hard work and dedication to bring this awareness. 17 years going strong, so we appreciate you and bringing the awareness. Like she said, it's not only global but local. So let's get out there and make a difference. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, and by the way, the Columbus Hall is right in front of the Mission there on Main Street in Ventura. That's a really nice place at the plaza, little plaza there. But I want to thank Debbie again, and again, I remember joining her here at the Transportation Center 17 years ago. And Debbie, and the church, and we moved back. It was over on H Street where we went. And also just to share with you that Debbie had a shop here in Oxnard, and my wife was one of your clients. And she still looks beautiful as ever.
And I also want to say that I used to cut Joe Avalaire's hair too.
Oh, you see, so yeah, absolutely. Yes. Well, thank you. Put your hands together again for all the good work they do for Oxnard. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
Mayor, can I just say something
Yes, go
before
ahead.
these people leave?
Go ahead.
I
Debbie?
mentioned to the city council that our district attorney, Nasaranko, presented to the VCOG, the committee that represents all the city of Oxnard, all the cities in Ventura County, and he pushed that he would come to council members and explain what's going on and how they keep people in control in these situations. I know that we're working on it, but I hope that he will honor his statement and show up as soon as possible, because the information that he gave is tremendous. That's as far as I want to go, but Mr. Nasarenko, we're still waiting for you to show up.
The DA? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie, and also the MLK committee. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. We'll see you there on both events. Thank you so much. Our next item is item F. This is public comments not on the agenda. And we have some speakers. We can give up to 3 minutes. And I have one speaker right off, Lynn Schulman. Lynn, thank you. Happy New Year. You got 3 minutes, Lynn.
Happy New Year to you, too.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Zaragoza, city council members, staff, and my fellow Oxnard residents. My name is Len Schulman. I'm here to talk about the beautiful white Carnegie Building next to Plaza Park that was originally built as the Oxnard City Library at an original cost of $14,000, $12,000 donated by Mr. Carnegie and $2,000 paid by the city. The building has been closed for the past few years, but most recently it was used as an art gallery. It is my opinion that the collection of art that was displayed there is at best mediocre, not inducing thoughts of return visits. I've seen private collections that are far superior, and bringing in a traveling exhibit of good art with the required insurance is ridiculously expensive. And in any case, as Oxnard does not have an art district, reopening it as an art gallery again would be a waste of our tax dollars. Also, the city would have to first bring the building up to present ADL and earthquake requirements, another major hit on our tax dollars. So I believe it's time for the city to sell this externally beautiful building to a private investor for a reasonable price, along with the following provisions. It should require that the exterior architecture not be changed except for maybe the addition of signage, and the new owners bring the building up to the present ADL and earthquake requirements. It should also be required that the new use of the building be something adding to the enhancement and attraction to the Oxnard's downtown district. I have two suggestions of possible businesses that I believe could fill those requirements. One would be a family-oriented brewery, and the other being an upscale nightclub featuring live entertainment, music, as well as good food. I'm sure that many of you have some other good ideas as well. Thanks for listening to my thoughts.
Thank you, Lem.
And a Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year to you, too. Okay, Madam Clerk, any other speakers, either virtually or in person?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Thank you. So we go, our next item is item G. This is a report of the city manager and the city department says ratification of a severe storm emergency proclamation. Recommendation that the city council adopt a resolution ratifying the proclamation of the Director of Emergency Service of the City of Oxnard proclaiming the existing of a local emergency. And we have our city attorney and our city manager. Who wants to go first?
I'll start out. So what's before you for this item, which was, the agenda was amended to add this item so that we could get this taken care of. Following the December 21st storm that inundated the city with unprecedented amount of rainfall in a short period of time, the city manager, in his role as the city's director of emergency services, signed a resolution proclaiming the existence of a local emergency. And the council now has to ratify that, or if it chooses not to, then it will expire. And what this will do, and that others can explain better than I, is enable the city to seek state and federal aid regarding the damage that was done to the community through the storm.
Thank you. Before we have any comments from the council member, do we have any speakers on this item, either virtually or in person?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no public speakers virtually or in person for this item.
I just want to share a couple of comments that I have here. I was going to put it under mayor's comments, but I just first of all want to welcome everybody for this new year, for Christmas and New Year's events. But also want to thank our city management, our firefighters, our police officers, our public works efforts, and all the individuals that really helped during this horrific major storm. We had 60+ inches of rain here in Oxnard, and it was just unprecedented. I just want to thank all the workers from the city of Oxnard that really helped throughout, not only with what happened in Wainimi and the surrounding neighborhoods, Ventura and so forth, but also that potentially we're looking at maybe hopefully help our residents that had flood damage and automobile vehicles damaged and so forth. And also with this item, we direct staff to go ahead and try and help our city residents as much as we can, either with financial or with assistance with the county, state, and federal officials, and to see how we can help the flood damaged individuals that had a lot of damage in their homes due to the flooding and also due to the loss of vehicles and other rents and so forth and et cetera. So I just wanted to thank again all our staff and our folks. In fact, I had calls at 2:00 in the morning as, Mr. Mayor, what are we going to do? He says, we're flooding, we're 3 feet or 4 foot up to my chest of water and so forth. He says, my apologies, but it's about 240 other thousand people are in the same predicament. But we do have, I contacted the city manager at 2:00 in the morning when it was pouring, and he says, Mr. Mayor, we have our firefighters, we have public works, we have police officers and our crews working out and removing a lot of the debris from the storage drain. So I thank you again, and again, I think this is proclamation is really, really important to all of us. Council members, want to share anything else? Go ahead, Councilman Turan. Thank you for the opportunity to say a couple of words.
Thank you, Mayor. And I understand the city manager has a quick update, so I'll just be short on this. Just reiterating what the mayor has said, I do want to thank all of our staff who came together to address the many issues that came from the ripple effect that was caused by this inundation through this storm surge. And I have mentioned before, I live down the street from my grandparents. And when I found out just after the tornado warning that their house was flooding, I immediately went out to go help them, realizing that it wasn't even safe for me to go down the street to help them. There was no way I could get over there. Luckily, there was somebody there with them in their home who was able to address what needed to be done. But it also gave me context when I found out that elsewhere in the city, that as bad as my neighborhood was or my street, there were streets that were far worse. And I want to thank the residents of Bottlebrush Place and Bottlebrush Circle who have been in regular contact with me about what happened and what they went through. I toured many homes who already have a foot or more of drywall cut out, getting replaced. Folks who've lost cars that were their main transportation but didn't have full coverage. Folks who've lost second and third cars. Folks who did not have renter's insurance or flood insurance. And are just really in an unprecedented and unforeseen space financially and otherwise. And so I absolutely appreciate the position they're in. And I'm hoping that our state or federal decision makers can hear not just the number of houses or the dollar figure, but know that in a community like Oxnard, we have people who absolutely are going to be and are upended by this, whether it be through transportation to their livelihoods or a home they didn't expect to be able to have to spend 5 figures on to repair water damage. So I'm hoping that, us putting this forward, that these conversations can continue at those levels to understand the direct impact that this has had on many residents across the city. And lastly, as the mayor had said, thank you to our staff from Public Works, from fire, from police, from all those departments that were activated to be able to help this. And especially our Public Works folks who had roll-off dumpsters or roll-off containers and street sweepers and crews go out to help clean up what we could out in some of the neighborhoods. So thank you again to everyone. Last thing, Mayor, because I was sitting in my wife's SUV, which it was too high even to drive that car, but I was sitting there hoping maybe the water would go down, and it didn't. But while I was sitting there, the fire truck did drive by in several feet of water through my neighborhood, and I realized later to find out that they were on their way to help people on Ventura Road and on Doris who were stuck in their cars and could not get out of their flooded cars. And so even though I was sitting there in my car waiting to see if there's anything I could do, they were in action and they were out there helping others right there on the spot. So again, thank you to all of our staff. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councilman Perlo.
Thank you. I would second Councilman Turan's comments. Our city of Oxnard buys insurance for various things, and we carry insurance policies. I think it would be wise, because a lot of people have contacted various members of the city explaining that their coverage, they thought would cover this, they thought would cover that. It would seem that there could be an informational thing on some part of a city council agenda explaining exactly what your insurance covers and what it doesn't. The little details, the term flood, there needs to be a flood, a major event like what we had. What's involved when you need to get an attorney to help you make sure the insurance companies protect you. I think it would be worthwhile for our residents to get that information at least once. Because when people are asking me, their car swamped, is it covered? I give them the numbers of the people to call. And with respect to that, I'm extremely grateful to the public relations part of the city of Oxnard getting the information out, the information that was put out to give advance notice to the public. One of the issues in the city of Oxnard I learned a long time ago, the city of Oxnard is built on a floodplain, and the floodplain is flat as a pancake. You can only put so much water on something before it backs up. Gravity is one of the best things you can have to make water move. And when there's a lot of water on a flat surface, it builds up. I did get calls from people that worked in Ventura County watershed flood control protection, and they wanted to assure me that the canals were not plugged up. There was a tremendous amount of rain at a certain time. I hope before this item is done tonight, we can have Public Works give us a little clip what transpired, and I hope in the future we can have some photographs. I'm sure with the firemen and everybody involved, somebody had to take photographs to show residents what was involved. The issue of what was done with respect to the high tides and the issues on the Oxnard Shores Beach. I want to thank the city of Oxnard for taking the bull by the horns. But I want to also inform the city of Oxnard and the knuckleheads in that area that sat on top of the berms while the big waves are coming in to see how close they can get. I mean, there's only so much somebody can do to save somebody. When there are signs, do not go on the beach, stay away, unsafe, and people still want to play with fate, there's a term called thinning the herd. It usually means that people lose their lives, and you're going to expect a firefighter or a police officer, some safety person or a good Samaritan to jump in and save you. I mean, come on. Those people have families and lives and responsibilities also. But we were very lucky. There was a tremendous amount of damage. I appreciate the angles the city of Oxnard is doing. I appreciate all the work that the residents of Oxnard have done to help themselves, but especially the city of Oxnard. And when people want to point out that the city of Oxnard may not be doing as much as necessary, that's where I think that some of these things, if we have an opportunity for video, we have, what does the public think? Messages to the public. You can show how deep the water was, as Councilman Turan's talking. When the water is as deep as it is, and you can see photographs of the water 3 feet high on people's garage doors, that's a hell of a lot of water. And it happened here. Doesn't say it can't happen again. Thank you.
So, by the way, too, on the insurance, FEMA covers flood insurance. Not that homeowners insurance does not cover natural type, but FEMA does, just for the information. And I know the city manager is going to share some information. Any council members, anything else before the city manager? Okay.
No, we just need you to take a vote.
You want to share anything else?
No.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll move.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Bert. Roll. Please vote.
Mayor Zaragoza, to confirm, I have a first by Mayor Pro Tem McDonald, a second by Councilmember Perillo.
Correct.
And the vote is
Correct.
7-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, would you like to share anything else on this item?
Yes.
Okay.
Happy New Year 2024. In lieu of the local government fun fact, I was hoping to kick off the new year with a few minutes of calisthenics here in the chambers with music, but my staff didn't support it, and I asked the Mayor Pro Tem this morning And that's the look he gave me. So we're not doing that.
So therefore, there went the wellness
Yeah,
program.
so good luck to all of you for your health in 2024.
Thank you so
And
much.
we'll have local government fun facts again at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so our next item is item H. This is city council. This is a time for city council members to make any brief announcements of their activities and also to include any future agenda items that they might like to hear in the future. And council members, 3 minutes, please. We'll start off with Councilman Charan.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple quick city or neighborhood council meetings. I'm sure Councilmember Perello has this as well because we split the South Bank neighborhood, but they will be having their next neighborhood council meeting January 11th at 6:30 p.m. And then Carriage Square will be February 1st, 7 p.m. And then those are all for District 2. And just two really quick items. We just talked about the surge that we had just a couple weeks ago and how that was unprecedented. And I just hope to remind folks that the volume of water that had come in, I mean, our storm drain system did drain it, but it needed time to catch up to itself. And that amount of water in that period of time, had it been standing for days and days, there would be an issue, I think, with our system. But the fact that it did drain by early the next morning in most places shows to the design of that and how it functions. But I want to remind folks that if you go for walks regularly or you're going through your neighborhood and you see items, debris, trash in the gutter, or something that may end up in the storm drains, that's the importance of keeping those things out of there, because even plastic bags or bags from fast food restaurants, those things really shouldn't be in our gutters, shouldn't be in our storm drains for this reason, because anything that inhibits or slows the flow there, even in precedented rain situations, can have a negative effect. So just reminding folks, we all have a part in this. We have weekly street sweeping for a reason, but it's weekly. It's not every day. If you go for walks every day, you are eyes and hands every day. Pick up things that are safe to pick up if you can do so. And lastly, this is something that I made a note of. I wasn't sure if I'd say it or not, but I'll say it just because it is an important topic, and that's around human trafficking. And I appreciate the Seroptonist for coming and having the awareness event and reminding folks about this very real issue. It's something that I have an emotional reaction to as someone who early in my career has worked with kids who were victims of human trafficking. And I saw firsthand the psychological, the emotional, and the physical toll that that takes on them. And it's very difficult to put into words the feeling that I had for them, the empathy I had, but also seeing that they had resilience to still continue and do what they had to do for themselves and to further themselves. Many of them were in the foster care system. Many of them had very, very difficult lives and stories. And know that when they say it's not just a global or national problem, it's a local problem, absolutely, it is a local issue that happens in our own backyard, along the 101 corridor, in hotels that you drive by every single day, in every city along the 101. And so I want folks to know that this truly does happen. It affects real people, and people of all ages, but for me, I've seen it with teens who had experienced it, and it's something that I will never forget, but it's also something I will always have to remember and appreciate, that there are people who go through so much at a young age. And I just hope folks know and appreciate when people create awareness around this, why they're creating awareness around this. So I hope folks will attend the event, learn more, and be aware of it. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And real quick, one of the things that the traffickers look for when I was with the county is that there's a lot of emancipated children that are left at 18 years of age. They throw them from foster homes on the street, and those traffickers are waiting for those kids, which is terrible, terrible anyway. Councilman Madrigal.
Just a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Councilman Basua.
Same. Happy New Year, everybody.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will echo Happy New Year to everyone also, and let's hope for a prosperous new year for all of us. The week's starting out quickly between the council meeting tonight, which we usually don't have right after a holiday, but tomorrow is Gold Coast Transportation District. Thursday is Association of Water Agencies for me, and then Friday is Ventura County Transportation Commission. They're all open meetings, and everybody's welcome to show up. One of the things we will do at VCTC on Friday is have a discussion by the Losan Executive Director, another board that I sit on, talking about train service in and through this region. And sadly today, one of our trains struck a vehicle in the area of Upland outside of Camarillo by the seminary.
Lewis Road.
And sadly, it was a fatality. The driver didn't survive. But in Ventura County, there are generally two types of railroad crossings, what we call protected, with the crossing arms and the warning symbols, and unprotected. And you'll see a lot of the unprotected ones in the farm areas where the tracks run through the property. There's no warning systems for vehicles crossing. And my understanding is that Upland was one of those crossings that was not protected. And the trains come through at a pretty good clip. So anytime you're approaching a railroad crossing, even if it's a protected crossing, make sure you look and see in both directions, see if you hear anything. And I bring this up because over the weekend, apparently the intersection of Vineyard Oxnard Boulevard had a signal malfunction. And the gates came down, and people get impatient. They try and go around the gates, and it creates a problem. And I know that some people were concerned that this is about the second or third time in a month that this system has malfunctioned at that particular intersection. And I do have a call into a friend of mine at Union Pacific trying to get a definitive answer from them about the status of that grade crossing and whether they have to do extensive repairs or not. But anytime you're dealing with a train crossing, and I tell this to people all the time, that trains, when it comes to stopping, especially when they're doing 60 miles an hour, just don't stop very quickly. You have steel wheels on steel rail, and there's very little drag, so it takes a long time, even under full braking, for a train to come to a stop. So always, even if the signals appear to be working, take 2 and 3 looks before you cross and be safe. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Perillo.
I think I said most of my speech a little earlier. Happy New Year. Best of luck. Hope we get a little more world peace going. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Valenzuela.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. I just want to say thank you to all of our staff who responded to the recent flooding and rescues. Thank you for all the great work. Also, next Thursday, January 11th, there'll be 2 neighborhood council meetings in my district. Blackstock South is at 6 p.m. on January 11th at the South Oxnard Center on Bard Road. And then the Redwood Neighborhood Council meeting is on same night and time, but at Our Savior's Evangelical Church on 905 Redwood Street. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I mentioned my remarks too, but first of all, I want to thank everybody for Happy New Year. And I want to share again that we have one of the best city councils I've ever served with, and one of the best administration and management I've worked with. In fact, I was talking to a council member the other day from another city. Guess where? At Costco's in Oxnard. And he was saying to me, he said, "Oh, Mr. Mayor, just want to say with you that my council member in that particular city is probably one of the best." And I told him, wait a minute, that's my line. But again, I want to thank everybody and our staff that's here today and all the city employees and our residents for helping us out. It's going to be a good year, 2014. Thank you so much. Okay, our next item is item H. This is again, item HIJ, the review of the consent agenda items, and we have items 1 to 5. Council members, any speakers, first of all, on the consent?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Okay, council members, we have items 1 to 5. Do we need a motion? Move from Councilman
Second.
Basua, second by Councilman Tehran. Basua, Tehran. Please vote.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, our next item, this is this time and place to set a public hearing on item L1. This is Community Development Department, subject subdivision of 4.16 lot into 25 lots for condominium purposes, located at 1400 Graves Avenue and 2301 Santiago Court, filed by Gary Collette, California Commercial Investment Companies. The recommendation is that the City Council, number 1, conduct a public hearing. 2, find that the project would be category exempt for environmental review pursuant to California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA guidelines, section 15301K, in existing facilities. And 3, adopt a resolution approving and planning and zoning permit number 22-300-03 for a tentative subdivision map, tentative track number 6062, subject to certain findings and conditions. And we start off with the city clerk certification and publication in any written communications, if any. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Zaragoza, there was a legal notice for this public hearing published in the Vida newspaper on December 21st, 2023. The city clerk's office has not received any written communications on this item that have been previously provided to City Council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council members, do we have any ex parte communications or other disclosures regarding this matter to state for the record, council members?
I did not.
Councilman Valenzuela?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem? None for me?
None.
None?
No.
None, Mayor.
None? Okay, thank you. So then we continue. The members of the public are invited to sign up to speak on this item on the city's website, and a person who did not sign up at this time may do so by submitting a speaker card or following the instructions posted on the agenda on this meeting at the city's website, oxnard.org/city meetings. Planning Supervisor Jay Dombrowski posted a video presentation regarding this item, and staff is available to answer any brief clarifying questions council members may have at this time. Council members, do we have any concerns on this item? Any deliberation? Yes. Councilor Perrello?
Looking at staff report, Mayor, it makes me want to look into the future a little bit. This will be divided into various private units that can be sold. We don't know what these individual businesses will be doing. I'm speaking specifically on 2 points. One, solar, and the other is trash enclosures. Sometimes private and businesses that get into these things deal with food products, and they have their waste may go into the trash enclosure. But we find in other parts of the city of Oxnard, the seagulls, which are sometimes considered flying rats, find these enclosures very quickly, and then they can cause tremendous damage to the aesthetics of the area. When will we know if there's a food enclosure, and if there is a food enclosure, will we be able to get a roof, screened roof fence to keep the flying rodents out?
Okay, Jay,
And
or
the second question, while you're coming up, what is the prognosis for making sure that businesses that come into town, I mean, we're all supposed to be environmentalists and looking out for the future and people unborn and, get off the oil economy and all this stuff. But solar seems to be something that often gets a lot of lip service from members of the Planning Commission, members of the public, and council members. Do we have an idea when those things will come forward for an action of the city to take action, that there will be
so,
requirements?
Joe or Jeff? Joe? Go ahead, Joe.
So Councilmember Ferrello, in regards to your first question regarding the trash enclosures, so the city requires all trash enclosures to be covered to prevent that exact situation of trash getting taken out and spewed across the site. So the enclosures will be, again, we'll have roofs on them, and we'll typically have metal grates around the openings on the sides to prevent access into the enclosures.
Can I share, Joe, now the trash enclosures have to have a cover, right?
Yes.
That's per an ordinance, correct?
Yes.
It's, I mean, that's the way it is now.
Yes.
It's great, it's great, fantastic.
The second question was, so you said.
The second was, is there any future, something coming up that we're gonna require solar? These businesses will probably use some sort of power, and unless they're gonna be rubbing sticks together, assume it's gonna be electricity, so solar might help them lower the costs. It might be expensive to get in, but I think it is something to, for this council to have to deal with.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you, Councilmember Perillo. Solar is not being triggered by this map, this action before council tonight, but the energy code continues to progress. And we're now in the 2022 cycle of the energy code. And now they're starting to get into solar requirements for commercial buildings. Off the top of my head, I cannot say that they're triggered by these when the tenant improvements come through. But as time progresses, the tenants that choose that option will be allowed to do that, and many are choosing that with their build out of their site. Additionally, if food users come through here, additional requirements for organics, waste streams, and other things will be looked at as part of their tenant improvement plans as well. But we are not mandating solar at this point.
Is there any mandate for at least wiring the buildings, that if the individual owner wants to put solar on the roof, it's already plumbed?
My understanding currently is the current energy code, this is off the top of my head, does require solar ready, which requires space in the panel, conduits to the roof area. That way it's a lot easier for the end users to install.
Okay, thank you. City Manager, I hope that we can do something to expedite potentially looking at the solar issue, and the council go on the record. How do we feel about that? Thank you. Thank you for the answers, Mr.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
I was going to say, if I can add an anecdotal comment, I just recently went through the exercise of putting solar on my house, and I found the city very straightforward and easy to work with. In fact, it was easier to work with the city than it was the contractor doing the solar. But it was a fairly and relatively painless process to get a fairly good-sized system in, and with very little trouble whatsoever. So I think the city is very up to speed on solar and bringing the right product to the right house. So.
But I think, like Jeff mentioned, I think pre-wiring is a good opportunity for the future too, I think. Council members, any other questions? If not, I'm going to open the public testimony portion. Speakers have 3 minutes to speak on this item. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers either here or virtually?
Mayor Zaragoza, we do not have any public speakers in person or virtually for this public hearing.
Gentlemen, you wanted to speak? We're the developer. I didn't know if that's public. If you like to come up, sure, you can. We'll give it 3 minutes. Welcome.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. Happy New Year, and thank you
New
for
Year.
considering our matter here. We're the developer, California Commercial Investment Companies. I'm Eric Zentner, and this is Gary Collette, who's one of the founders of the company. And we're a local company that does primarily senior Section 8 housing throughout the country. But we do develop, and this is our second development now in Oxnard. The buildings in question are now complete. It's 24 units, and the condo map here will facilitate the ability to sell units individually to small businesses who can have the pride of ownership.
So it's a conversion more than anything else.
It's not really a conversion. The building is done. It's just that it's a single ownership and a single legal parcel. And with the condo map, then there will be individual legal descriptions, and they can be sold.
For sale.
For sale, yes. And 12 of them are what we're contemplating to sell to various small businesses. And we believe that'll be a great thing for the neighborhood, and that it'll bring, the pride of ownership and eyes of owners into the neighborhood. We do have contracts for some great businesses that have, anywhere from selling medical type equipment to audio video companies. Part of the condo map conditions of approval, one of the items that we're meeting for this is we're going to pave the streets outside of the development itself to a higher specification than even the city had recently done in the surrounding streets. So Gary and I are here to answer any questions and hopefully this matter.
Gary, you'd like to share words, a couple of words? Go on.
Certainly. Actually, I printed a few photos if you guys would like to look at them.
I saw some photos. I'm sure that we had a visual. Graves is off of Rice Road, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, in San Diego, yeah.
Yeah. If you'd like to see them, I can pass them
You can,
around.
you can give them to the clerk and they can pass them to us, so. But I believe, that the planning commission approved this item, and which is, I think is important. They probably did a lot more query and investigation on the unit, so. And we don't need a sequel on this item too, which is, I think is important, so.
Correct.
Okay.
Anyways, originally, we're an affordable housing developer. And originally, I purchased this land and was going to try to build 100 affordable units on it. And then we learned that the CCNRs didn't allow it unless we got 60% approval from the HOA Association of the Industrial Properties there. So we decided, well, I guess we're going to be industrial guys. So we built this, and I said, well, let's just not build any flat industrial building. Let's make it real pretty. And so we, I must be over my 3 minutes. Anyway.
No, you're okay.
So we hired a great architect, and we said, let's make it really nice. And then as we went along this process, construction costs went up 40% for us.
And by the way, just for information, I know that your partner had 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes too, so
okay.
if you want to continue, but it's up to you.
Sure. Anyway, construction costs went up crazy.
Thank you.
And so we got in over our head, and anyway, so we said, well, let's make these condominiums. And so we have some great businesses, as Eric mentioned, that would like to move in there. And there is a pride of ownership with condominium individual ownership as well.
And that's important, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay, any, Councilman Perrella, we might have some.
I appreciate you adding towards the end there how the process worked for you, what it was going to be and what it changed to, because my question was, why did it go from 2 buildings to all of a sudden dividing it up? Economics gets involved, and I appreciate the frankness that you opened up and shared with us. I wish you the very best of luck in this project. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, any other speakers on this item, either virtually or here?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Thank you. So I'm closing the public hearing. Thank you for the speakers. Any council members have any comments on this item? If not, I would request a motion.
Move the recommended action.
Got a first by Perrellis. Teron, you would like to share a couple of words before?
I'll second, but then
Second.
I have
Go ahead
just
and
quick
share.
discussion too. Thank you to the developers for coming out as well, and thank you to the staff for bringing this forward. Looking at the planning commission meeting and the outcome from that, I appreciate our planning commissioners weighing in on this and sending it forward to the council as well. Just real quickly regarding the questions that Councilmember Perrello brought up, I want to thank him for bringing those up, because that is something that is three-dimensional thinking that even I hadn't occurred to me. And I'll just say that in District 2, we've had a couple of areas where there were commercial trash enclosures that were not secured, had no doors, were just an opening in a wall, and those tend to be places that were heavily targeted for illegal dumping or for neighboring commercial businesses to just throw stuff in there. And I want to thank our staff for working with those folks out at those commercial locations to actually upgrade their enclosures, to add a roof and grating and doors and locking doors. And that has made all the difference in places that historically had major issues with illegal dumping, and now it's like a night and day viewing when you go over there. And lastly, I'll just say seagulls are actually a protected species, council member. And believe it or not, they're protected by the Migratory Bird Act. And so I was surprised to learn that recently also. I am not a fan of seagulls, but they are a protected bird. So anyways, those are my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. We have first by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilman Teran. Please vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, that's our last item. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.
You made it there?